What is going on here?
What's up, Andrew Steele?
I'm hanging out over here in the guest lounge here at Border Coach Leasing in Santan Valley, Arizona, and Kyle just saved one of my consulting clients a lot of money and a lot of headaches. Thought we'd make a little video today telling you guys about what's going on. A huge thanks to Dean Laux Fine Art for sponsoring today's video.
If you have any kind of repair work, you can bring it in. Doesn't matter if it's Liberty Coach or any other brand, we can repair cracked areas, stone chips. We can paint those at our shop. We do front end clear bra, the stone guard. We do the ceramic coat there.
Oh, look at that. So this is the ceramic coating, ladies and gentlemen.
It's just gone.
It's just gone.
I have several different things that if you're going right through 80-90 across top of Indiana, you could stop by and have us do some work for you.
So I got a call from Andrew saying, can you inspect a coach for us? And we brought it in here, and here's the final list of everything that we found on it.
We heard a certain story from the salesman, and the story from the salesman and the story that you found, how do they align?
Well, the salesman told the customer that everything was done on the coach. There was no issues on the coach whatsoever. And he didn't need to bring it to us to inspect it because they already had service records on it all. Well, I mean, this is totally different from what that was said.
And I don't want to dog any RV salesman, but this particular RV salesman said, why would you waste $500 on an inspection with Kyle? And we just got off the phone with the client, and he is so thankful that he spent that $500 because we found about $20,000 in work that it needed. Now, also real quick too, I'm gonna sit down here since I'm gonna make myself at home here in the Border Coach Leasing customer lounge here. What happened is a gentleman that I'm actually doing some consulting for was buying a bus, and of course I'm gonna tell him, that's like the first thing I tell everybody, number one rule is make sure you get this bus inspected by a reputable mechanic that's unbiased, because there's a lot of technicians that are kind of in bed with the sales guys, for lack of a better term. Kyle's working for the buyer, so there's no reason for him to. Could a technician bend a report, right?
A mechanic can always add extra stuff on a coach to persuade a buyer, but what benefit is there of doing that? Where we could actually take pictures and show you, you know what I mean? I think you're asking.
Yeah, well, and my other question is would it be possible for a mechanic to maybe like bypass and not inspect things and not dig as deep to find things? Is there different levels of inspection? Because I'm not a mechanic, so
yeah.
I mean, I know the stuff that I can see, but like how deep? You follow a checklist. What's your process?
Yeah, we have a 4 or 5 page checklist here that kind of goes through all the items, so we can't skip over anything really. Some of the stuff, like the customer today asked about the plumbing, that wasn't on our checklist. So obviously we didn't fill the bus up with water and test everything on that end. If a customer wanted us to go all the way through plumbing and making sure the satellite TV works, or down to the finer details like that, we can do that, but it's all time that goes into it. So any mechanical stuff, that's where the real money is. The tires, on this particular coach, the tires were well over the 8-year mark that any of us like to see.
Yeah, so what were the date codes on these tires?
We found 2002 and 2006 were the date codes on the tires. We were told they were safe to drive on.
His main concerns were safety for his family. That was his number one concern, was being able to transport his family safely. So
I wouldn't even run a trailer with 18-year-old tires on it.
No, 2002, that's 18 years. So definitely, and he's saying, well, it was stored indoors. Well, I don't care if it was stored indoors. 18-year-old tires, you don't want to run on 18-year-old tires. So the date codes on tires are a huge thing to inspect. But I think Kyle, for the most part, you specialize more in, well, I mean, you take care of everything, but this inspection was more for safety stuff, going over all the heavy equipment, making sure all the chassis equipment is in good working condition, and there's just a lot of stuff that can come up. Now, if you want to find a good technician like yourself, now if you're in the Arizona area, I highly recommend having Kyle inspect your coach before purchasing it. But how do folks find a good bus mechanic and an unbiased mechanic, and how do you make sure that your bus mechanic and your RV salesman aren't in bed together?
I mean, that's probably a tricky one, isn't it? But I mean, obviously what I would do is I would probably ask the salesperson to recommend some people to take it to, and then write that list down, and then don't take it to those people, because obviously if they're going to recommend you to a certain shop, chances are that it may have a biased or unbiased opinion. We don't know for sure, but at least do your own research. Groups online and stuff like that, you can ask a lot of trusted shops, and I'm sure you've been to, Andrew, you've been to ton of trusted shops, and obviously you speak the truth to people and tell people not what they want to hear, but what they should be hearing. So that has a lot of weight on it. And even going to Prevost direct to their location, sometimes they're going to have unbiased, because they're the manufacturer of the coach. So that's not always the worst place to go. You might not get as thorough on some of the interior systems of a coach, just because they're not as familiar with them, or generators or plumbing and stuff like that at Prevost. But I don't know, I could be wrong. They could do stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely not a bad idea to have Prevost inspect it, but most important, have an unbiased mechanic inspect it. And while we're sitting here, man, kind of off topic, my ADD's kicking in. I got to give Kyle a shout out on some merch. I know this is seriously, I got one of these hoodies. It's like my favorite hoodie.
It's starting to get cold out. So
yeah, it's going to be getting cold out here pretty soon.
It's snowing in Denver.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you guys will definitely be seeing me wear my Border Coach hoodie. What other kind of stuff do you got? You got gray? I don't have the gray. No, somebody traded.
Yeah, somebody stole.
They bought a new Border Coach and just ditched their old hoodie. I don't blame them. But yeah, Kyle's got T-shirts. All this is big size. What is this? A 6XL? Sizes all the way up to 6XL, guys. So definitely worth checking out his site, bordercoachleasing.com. Oh, I think this is new, buddy. A new snapbacks or what? The gray with the white.
Yeah.
Good looking hats there. How much can people buy your hats and your T-shirts for online?
I forget. They just got to log in, bordercoachleasing.com.
Kyle's very busy. I appreciate him taking the time just to sit down and kind of share with us a little bit about this inspection. And if you do need a coach inspected, bordercoachleasing.com, you can find his info and schedule an appointment. If you need consulting,
Andrew Steele.
shoot me an email. I'll leave my email address, ansautodetail@gmail.com. Don't